I have a cousin named Sebastian Gray who lives in Santiago, Chile, and who is part of a national organization called Egalidad in Chile that is devoted to gender and marriage equality. And when Washington State passed marriage equality into law, I got a very unusual phone call from him. We are, in many ways, an example to other parts of the country and to other places in the world. And our mayor is someone who has worked very hard to make sure that prejudice and discrimination have no place in our state and in our city. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce Seattle's Mayor Ed Murray.
Good evening. I want to thank all of you who are here this evening, and I want to thank Real Change for bringing us together. In particular, I want to thank Tim Harris for inviting me to speak, and more importantly, for his tireless and inspiring leadership on issues of homelessness and social justice. We are gathered here this evening in a service, basically, to an important cause, to voice our belief that every member of our community deserves to be treated with compassion, with care, and with respect. But as happens all too often, we come together tonight not to celebrate our strength when we come together collectively, but rather because of recent events demonstrate how fragile our connection to humanity sometimes can be. This is a great city, and it is puzzling and painful that 2 Seattle firefighters were involved in an incident that is as horrifying and as unnecessary as the one that took place here on March 15th. In Seattle, we ask a lot of our public servants, including our firefighters. I would also add, though, that our firefighters are often the first responders to help the homeless. They are often the folks who have developed a relationship with the homeless, friendships with the homeless, and while we are here because of a horrific story, there are also stories of compassion again and again expressed by our firefighters. But whether they are on duty or they're heading home from a sporting event, we expect our firefighters to treat every member of our community with dignity and with respect. I have requested that an outside investigator be appointed to conduct a full review of what happened here. I've asked the city attorney and our labor relations department to assist the fire chief to evaluate what options in regards to discipline should be considered. I've asked Chief Bailey to look at what his department can do to make sure that there is an adequate police presence during major sporting events, not simply to respond to violence, but to prevent the violence from happening. In the weeks and months ahead, I will meet with many of you, whether you're in social service or business, whether you're residents of this neighborhood, and work with you to understand how we can come together to prevent these incidents from happening again. So that is what I will do. But more importantly is what we will do as a community. We have an obligation to treat those, in the words of Martin Luther King, who was quoting the Gospels, we have an obligation to treat those who are the least among us with dignity. We have